Good morning, good morning, good morning, folks. How's everybody doing this morning? Good to see you guys here bright and early. LB, new trader. Happy Thursday to you all. We're a week out from the day of thanks. Let me get my screen sharing started, get my chat open. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Pulse? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Navy Plum, good to see you. All right, let me get my screen sharing going. All right, I've started the YouTube broadcast this time. Morning. What's up, Ryan? Good to see you. Apologies for forgetting to hit the go live button on Tuesday. For those of you who are joining on YouTube, I did go ahead and record a quick kind of recap of everything we discussed. So hopefully that was a okay consolation prize. But again, my apologies for coming one click short of being perfect on Tuesday. So with that being said, let me get my screen charts ready to go here. All right, I think we're lined up, ready to rock. Good to see you all here this morning. What's up, Azmat? What's up, Andy? Good to see you all here. Thanks for joining. Hope you guys enjoy this, and we'll come back for many, many, many more of these to come as we do them every Tuesday and Thursday. What's up, Count the Monet? Good to see you. All right, so let's talk about things with the market in general. Obviously, Nvidia came in yesterday with their earnings report to try and save the market, as everybody has described it. It has certainly created an opportunity for bulls to step in and get things back above the weekly trend on SPY. In fact, we should probably pull that chart up as well, just so we can see that and talk about it real quick. And let's zoom out a bit on this. Come on. Why are you not moving? There we go. All right. So, kind of similar charts, except for obviously we've got this weekly trend marked here on SPY. Again, this, if we go out to the weekly, has been a trend that's been intact since May for the first time ever. Or not ever, for the first time since May. Ever's the wrong way to say that. We started to get some daily candles closing below it. As of Monday of this week, we are now pushing back up out of this NTS buy pressure, but we are going to run into some confluence of resistance up here, so be very mindful of that. We could potentially see this be a back test and rejection, especially with this. I know it's probably hard to see that zoomed out, this bit of bearish momentum that's built up right in this same neck of the woods, aka a confluence, multiple things there showing possible resistance, all in the same place at the same time. Again, I'm liking this bounce so far. The bulls might try to push this back over the trend. If they do, I think that's going to lead to at least a test of current all-time highs, if not new all-time highs. So keep that in mind. However, we should also be mindful and aware of where to look for things to break down to. So we're going to switch to ES real quick. Again, a little bit more consistency, especially on the indicator side of things, considering that ES trades 23 hours a day on the charts. So again, kind of a similar thing, right? We saw this here on SPY on the daily, catching that key buy pressure zone, getting pretty close to the actual buy level there. Same thing with ES, right? Dropping down deep into that buy pressure zone, the heaviest buy pressure zone, getting very close to that key support level there with some confluence at 65.80. So again, if we do get a rejection and this does wind up just being a back test of that trend on SPY, and we pull back further and we lose 65, 80, 50 as support, which is going to be a key level, that does open up a pretty big window of downside that would take us down from 65.80 to, in my estimations, down to about 62.90 to 63.50, this purple range down here, levels marked on the right side of the chart there if you want the specific numbers. So anyway, all things to keep on watch here. This could be a bit of a dead cat bounce into a back test of that trend line breakdown and rejection. So, you know, be very careful about piling into longs right out of the open. I'm not saying that things won't continue to the upside. Just be very mindful and try to be meticulous about your entries, especially with things, you know, potentially presenting opportunities for the market to really push in either direction here. So again, caution as always, but long exposure's never bad in the big picture. Long enough term horizons, you will always come out ahead. The market's designed to go up. It's just a matter of how long it takes you to get there and how long you got to hold those bags if you wind up in some upside down positions. SPY chart factoring this. Yes, it does. This one, because we're using the 24-hour chart right here. So that is something I'm sure I've mentioned this in the past, but just something to be mindful of when it comes to trading view. If you're looking at just the daily chart, that is simply showing the cash session. So I do recommend, or at least what I like to use, is I created a, just custom time frame and trading view, super easy to do, 24-hour chart. That'll give you the daily candles plus extended trading hours price action. What's up, Pradeep? Good to see you. For Target, sure. And yeah, Hut was a great plan. So let's get to some of these recaps, speaking of those, and then we'll work on some new trade plans. So let's get through these quickly so we've got plenty of time for planning our trades today. So what are we seeing here on Merck? We did this one on this past Tuesday. And it has pretty much been sideways between our entry levels. It's also kind of been even tighter. Oh, excuse me. That came out of nowhere. Between the stop loss average down levels. So not much to see here on Merck just yet, waiting for that break above 98 or break below 93 for things to get interesting going in either direction. So keep it on watch, keep these levels marked if this is a trade plan you're interested in pursuing. So you guys can stay on top of this plan. These alerts on this one will expire next Monday at market close. Dell was another one that we did on Tuesday. Did give us a break out to the upside there. Ultimately, this bearish selling pressure, though, was just a little bit too much for Dell, along with the markets looking a bit questionable, I would say is probably the right word, going into the NVIDIA earnings report. This one did pull back for a stop out here, broke below, back tested, showed resistance there. Might try another break to the upside, much cleaner bounce here. So this may have been a little bit of a fake out to the downside, liquidity sweep, getting traders out of long positions. Again, those things happen. We try to set our plans accordingly to make sure that we avoid those types of things, but no plans are, or no planner, I should say, are perfect. Sometimes we do have some perfect plans. And speaking of, let's get to some more. So that's Dell. Again, I'm looking for this one to potentially break to the upside. If it makes another break, I'd be very surprised if it doesn't try to get at least to PT1 for us, but keep it on watch. Wait for that confirmed break over 123.85. The trade desk, this one's played out nicely to the downside, gave us a break below, gave us some back testing, ultimately has dropped to PT2 and held strong there as support, multiple bottoms off that PT2 level here at 39.72. So the trade desk might be trying to build a base here to push higher. Keep an eye on it. But so far, downside has been playing out for this one. Price targets hitting and holding pretty nice and cleanly. So good stuff on that one. Makes up for our Dell trade plan a little bit. And so does Hut here. This was a great one. Wait, why am I? Oh, this is from last Thursday's live stream. Broke to the downside, gave us all three price targets, shot back up to our put entry level, NTS confluence right there, rejected that back down to PT1 plus on that sweep, but for the most part holding PT1 since then and now trying to break back above that put entry level here at 39.67. It's also above the downtrend and flipping things bullish here on NTS. So I'd be interested to keep a very close eye on Hut. This one might try to make another push toward the upside here. Does have those SMAs overhead. I'd be a little bit cautious, conscientious of those. But overall, Hut looks like it's trying to kick things back into first gear to head to the upside. Then we've got SoFi. We did this one last Thursday as well. This one's played out for all of our downside targets and then some. Now it's back testing PT3 for puts as resistance. Lots of confluence of resistance here all the way up to 28.48. And then you run into a couple more confluences all the way up until it gets over to 29.25. So SoFi, probably another good one to keep on watch. This one could push lower, but if it gets over 29.25, might try to make a nice push to the upside. All right, so that knocks out our trade plan recaps. Let's get to some of these new ticker requests. New trader in here, bright and early. Good morning. Yeah, Target, USAR Bull for Ryan. Sure, we'll try to take a look at those. And then CRWV, that'll be an interesting one to take a look at. New trader, I like it. So let's start with that. Get some coffee here. All right. I thought, no, maybe not. Thought I had more levels on CoreWeave than that, but I guess I don't. All right. Excuse me. I need more coffee. All right. What are we going to do with you here, CoreWeave? Ryan says wait for 33 to buy shares. That's an aggressive entry. That's like below IPO. Well, pretty close to like all-time lows there. So Ryan not giving a big vote of confidence on YouTube for CoreWeave to bounce here. Let's see. Get some of these levels dialed in here on this weekly chart. The couple that we can spot at least. There's not a lot of price data on this chart, so no surprise, we'll probably get most of our levels from some of the smaller time frames. Just clean that up real quick. All right, let's keep this thing moving. Here's current all-time highs. Not that we're gonna need that for our trade plan, but while I'm here, might as well mark it. Okay, let's see. Yeah, there's a level sitting right around here. Yeah, right there, actually. What else do we have working here on CoreWeave? Yep, I like that level too. Although I'm probably getting into the weeds up here a little bit. That's considering that I don't think we're going to need those levels as price targets, at least not for this morning's plan. Old habits die hard. I start charting. I want to chart everything. Yeah, I like that level. This is some interesting price action in here. I'm going to take a look at this on the next time frame. Yep. Let's see what else we got. Definitely starts to open up some serious downside below 73, at least on the higher time frames. Yeah, right about there. Mm, yeah, that looks pretty decent. Okay, cool. It's a good start. Let's keep it moving. What is this blue line? Hmm. Yeah, maybe needs to be just a touch higher, right about there. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, cool. Got that out of the way. Hmm. Not much to work with there, so we're gonna have to go back to this older price data. I can make a case for this daily level actually being a little bit more situated like that. Let's see. Not a lot of candles to work with, obviously, but I do like this level. And where are we at currently? 82.52. Yeah, that probably covers most of the higher time frame levels we're going to need for our plan at least. Yeah, that looks like a decent level I'd want to watch too. All right, let's go. Let's see what this is starting to shape up like here on the hourly. Yeah, there's something there. Not the strongest level I've ever seen, but probably one we're going to keep an eye on. So we build out this plan here this morning. Make a small adjustment here. Excuse me. God, I can't stop yawning this morning for some reason. Definitely setting up a bullish flag, bullish pennant here, trying to push to the upside. All right, so how do we want to plan this out? Okay. We're going to maybe be a little bit aggressive here. But again, market could make a push for a decent recovery. Potential trigger of a Santa rally. We'll see. But whoops. Well, do it here. There are some windows of opportunity here with a pretty well-defined risk off level that I think is worth taking a shot at. Some big fair value gaps on this one, unsurprisingly. Yeah, there is a smaller time frame, slightly closer level that I would say go ahead and take some profits or finish taking profits there at 102.85. Now the question becomes the downside. That's a daily level. Is that off a little bit? Let's see. Again, when we're that far zoomed out, sometimes it's hard to nail these levels accurately. So by all means, if you need to, make some small tweaks to the levels as you dig into those smaller time frames. Let's see how that stacks up with what I was looking at. Stacks up perfectly. Yep, I think we could use this right here. It's a good stop loss average down for this downside trade plan. Now let's just make sure. I have a feeling it's going to be just 1, 2, 3, support, support, support as far as what we have on the chart. But let's check that on the price action as well. Make sure there's no adjustments we'd want to make to those levels. And there is actually. I would tighten up this first target a little bit, looking at the hourly here to 66.95. Call it 67-ish. Below that, then I think we get to 59.91. Yeah, kind of a tight PT2 and 3, at least that's what it looks like on the chart. Still a pretty decent amount of downside there, though, from 50, call it 60, down to 55 and some change. All right, that's our plan. Let's go forth and execute. Once we get our confirmation, let's get this dialed in here. Looking for that, whoops, dyslexic fingers, 84.12, 91.49, 96.79, and 102.85. Oops, there we go. And put, perfect, cool. Let's go. Okie dokie. Here comes your... Yeah, we would all love CoreWeave shares at 33, Ryan, I think. Here comes your CoreWeave live stream plan, folks. Let me get this posted in the Elite chat. Get this message link. Let's get our alert set. Trade plan pilot. That's what I'm looking for. What am I doing? Putting this for next Wednesday. Wait, wrong month. I was like, why does this look weird? Oops, nope, that's for SPY. 1600 market close. That looks good. Perfect. Alert set. All right, so let's talk through this one last time, and then we'll get to the next trade plan. What are we looking for here on CoreWeave? We're looking for it to break over 84.12. That should open up room for continuation to the upside to 91.49, 96.79, and 102.85 with a stop loss average down at 79.51. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 73.12. That should bring downside targets at 67.16, then a bigger move down to PT2 at 59.91, and ultimately third price target there at 55.40 with a stop loss average down at 77.83. Those are your CoreWeave live stream plans. Let's go. Let's make some money on these, folks. All right, what do we got next? LB right in there with AVGO, and then we'll do a target for Pradeep. So that's CoreWeave. Oh, you know what? I knew I was forgetting something. Caught myself. Almost forgot to lock in our template. There we go. Now we can move on. All right. AVGO, Broadcom. What? Oh, they're all down there. Well, those aren't that helpful anyway. Nor are these right now. God, I guess it has been that long since I've looked at this chart. And yeah, we don't need that all the way down there. Don't need that anymore. Maybe April of this year was the last time I looked at it. It has been grinding, cruising to the upside. All right. Also, good morning and welcome to everybody who's joined since we first kicked this off this morning. I appreciate y'all coming in here. Hopefully, we're going to make you some money by following these plans. I anecdotally would say our success rate is probably 75% plus as far as plans that hit versus plans that stop out. Thank you, LB. Yeah, again, that's an anecdotal number kind of off the top of my head, but I think we do pretty good. Listen, man, it's just strong fundamental technical analysis is the key to better trading. Always having a plan, key to better trading. Be fanatical about understanding price action, being able to read the levels. That will make all the difference in the world in your trading. All right. Actually, I'm going to keep an eye on this one. I'm not 100% confident that that's a good weekly level, but we'll find out here shortly. That is a pretty interesting one, though, right there. Get our weekly all-time high marked off. May need some trend-based fib extensions on this one, but that's one of our specialities, so no problems there. That's another interesting one to watch as we go through some smaller time frames. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I think that's kind of the key level right there. All right, that should be plenty of downside targets here on the weekly. Let's check out these couple of placeholders I put on the chart. See if they put us in the right neck of the woods for some good levels. Yeah, I would actually make a case for this one being right about there. Good daily level. Still lots of support, very clean. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. Not 100% on that being a daily level yet. That looks like a really good one, though. Yeah, we're actually right up against, yeah, resistance there. Let's get this adjusted. Here's the, in my opinion, the market maker's all-time high. They're trading during extended hours. There's a prior all-time high that had a double top. That'll be an interesting level to watch as well. Okay. Like that as a daily. feels like there should be something in this range, but not anything that I can see on the daily chart. So, but also not a lot of time spent in that range, so not totally surprising that we would need to go break into some of these daily candles to see where exactly that is. This is definitely a good level though, right there. Would I make any adjustments to that weekly level? Yeah, I would make a tiny adjustment to it right there. Okay. Let's go. Let's see. Yeah, still can't really nail down this level right here. Did have perfect confluence with NTS there for a bit. Also, just barely faked out. I'm gonna take a look at this actually. This could be a good case study. Sorry, just gotta make myself a note real quick. For making some additional volatility adjustments to NTS. I feel like it could have it. I mean, it was perfect throughout there, but it could have adjusted some for that volatility. So let me just make a note there. ABGO 4 hour. What day was this? Friday, 10/10, 10/10, 25. Volatility check. All right, I might need to make some small adjustments to the Pine script for NTS to make it even better than it already is. Nice 333, yeah, 333 SMA bounce there. I don't know how many times I've talked about that one here on the 4 hour. That's pushed us up here nicely. All right, let's go. Get these levels locked in so we can do our plan. Can't have a plan without a roadmap. These levels being the roadmap. Yeah, that's a pretty good level. I could certainly make a case for that one too. All right, I think we're pretty well situated here. Almost. So let's get our, because we will probably need them. So let's go ahead and get them locked in here. Yeah, that one actually lines up better right there. And also gives us a level here. And gives us these upside targets that start to open up. All right, cool. Looks like a well thought out chart, at least looks like one. All right, let's figure out where we're going with this trade plan. I like an entry. We can get this NTS flag to flip. Potential earlier entry right here that we're testing pre-market at 370.12, but I don't I have a feeling that's going to create some rushed FOMO type entries, and that's the last thing I want to do to anybody. Stop loss there. First target, I think we revisit all-time highs if we can break over that, by the looks of it. Over that, typically, as we push through these fib extensions, the 0.618 becomes your big resistance. Then we back test the 0.5 before it pushes higher. So I'm going to go ahead and anticipate that playing out in a typical fashion, although how often is the market doing typical shit? Probably not all that often, but that's okay. I mean, you got to use these patterns and history to create some rational form of predictive analytics to figure out where things are going. All right, my question for myself here. Yeah, kind of like in adding a level here. For a good stop loss for that downside plan. Be watching this 333 to kind of move up and create a confluence with this level here at 335.69. So I think that that would be a very wise place to start booking some profits and moving up our stops. Below that, though, I think it does open up room down to 324.54. Yeah, let's go ahead and call it 315.41 for the third price target. All right, looks like a plan to me. Let me check this hourly chart real quick, make sure there's nothing that really changes my mind here, at least not on the upside. There isn't. Potential issue there, but this flag is trending to the upside, and I have a feeling it's going to lock in a confluence there at 348.19. So I think that is still a good break to the downside. All right, cool. Yep, let's lock this in. So we're looking for a break over 374.36 to take us up to retest of all-time high there, and then potential new all-time highs to our fib extensions. I would say make sure that if you are going to pursue this plan in either direction, buy lots of time. Lots and lots. Months of time. Okay, cool. Let's get this cleaned up real quick. There we go. Get our start line on there. That looks good. Should be easy for everybody to read. Here comes your AVGO live stream plan. Huh? Error, try again. There we go. That was weird. YouTube being difficult. All right, cool. So I got my link in there. Let's get our alerts set. Trade plan pilot, any alert. Cool, cool, cool. And let's get our template locked in. before I forget, Thursday live stream plan 2. Let's go. All right, so let's talk through this real quick and then we'll get to target, and that'll be our last one for this morning. What are we looking for here on AVGO, aka Broadcom? We're looking for a break over 374.36. That should bring targets for a retest of all-time highs at 391.81, then on up to our fib extension targets at 405.25 and 414.69, with a stop loss average down at 361.63. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 348.19. That should give us targets at 335.69, 324.54, and 315.41, with a stop loss average down at 357.86 for that downside trade plan. There's your AVG Go, or AV Go trade plan. That's what I was trying to say. AVG Go. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, cool. Got that locked in. Let's see what we can do here on target. Target looking a little rough. Just clean up these drawings real quick. All right. What are we looking at here? Target. Let's zoom out real quick. I'm gonna hide these indicators real quick. I just want to see price action for a minute. So this was kind of a placeholder level there. Really does look better if it was right about here. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a daily level sitting in there. Same thing there. Gap to fill down here too on the daily. All right, let's see how that situates us here. Let's see what this looks like. Come on, let's go. There we go. Yeah, there is a pretty good level right here as well. And I like that as a stop loss if we take our entry there. I'd certainly go ahead and book some profits at this 81.26 level. And then 79.17. And then I think it goes to test the top of this gap. And the other thing that I would say is if you can establish a free runner or two, by the time you get to PT3 for puts here, wouldn't begrudge anybody from holding a, again, free runner. So all your money back out of the trade and maybe even some profits back out of the trade, ideally, if you want to hold on for that gap fill down to 72.93. But good chance that we try to bounce off the top of that gap if and when it gets tested. All right, so let's figure out our upside plan. Where does that start to look attractive? Let's see. I could make a case for a small adjustment here on this level. Maybe even a tiny little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty good. What's up, Thug Baby Yoda? Sliding into the morning live stream. I love it. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. All right. Sorry. Let me nail this down here. I think this level. Is that the one? No, that's up there. What am I doing? Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. Just had to convince myself. Let's take a shot at this. Yeah, I could. Yeah, that looks pretty solid right there, actually. So give it that little bit more room. Use that as a stop loss. Next target for target. Accidental pun intended. And then yeah. The question is, hang on, let me double check this. I feel like I'm being a little too aggressive on that second upside price target. Um, hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna tighten this up just a little bit to 98.05. I don't know, actually. I could also make a case for it being right there at 96.59. All right, I'm gonna, sorry, switch this up one more time. But I want to make sure that we're not being too greedy. Nobody ever went broke selling for profit. Yeah, that looks better, more reasonable. I like it. Nice confluence with our call entry there if we can break above that. So I think we've got that nailed down perfectly. NTS and the 333 SMA agreeing at that level being a key resistance. So let's get our plan locked in. Yes, I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Okay, 96.59. Cool. All right, let's lock it in. Here comes your target live stream plan. Let's go. And let me get over to... What the heck just happened? Gotta be kidding me. My whole computer just locked up, like randomly. Come back to me. There we go. All right. Hopefully, I'm not sure if you guys could hear me or whatever, but my whole computer just like froze up like a mofo for a second there. My apologies. All right. Yeah, that was very weird. No, you could trade these plans with options or with shares, whatever's easiest for you. All right, so we've got the, let's get our alert set here. And let's get this locked into our template. All right, so one quick kind of run through here on target for this plan, and then we're going to wrap it up for the day. What are we looking for on target? We're looking for a break above 91.63. That should bring price targets at 94.78, 96.59, and 99.65 with a stop loss average down at 89.40. To the downside, we're looking to play for some bearish moves below 84.04. That should give us targets at 81.26, 79.17, and 75.57 with a stop loss average down at 86.64. Those are your target live stream plans, and this is Chart Talk Live for Thursday, November the 20th, 2025. Thank you all so much for joining me. We will be back next Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, as we always say here on Chart Talk Live, plan your trades, trade your plans. Remember, we're looking for profits, not perfection. So keep those wins big, keep your losses small. Go out there, get some green. Have a great day. I'll see y'all in the chats, and I'll see you back here next Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Have a